Today's episode of the More You Know podcast is brought to you by CrowdQuestion, a brand new social communication platform focused on connecting crowds to bring everyone closer to their community, as well as enhancing any occasion. Rather than being a social media platform focused on content and advertising, they're focused on communication and connection. Learn more about the platform and download the app free at crowdquestion.com.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.
Today I want to go through 3 realities in life, and the top 5 ways people make life harder for themselves, shared in John C. Maxwell's book, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. Understanding the realities of life and trying not to make life harder for yourself are 2 keys to finding success and fulfillment in life. If you aren't aware of the realities of life, your actions can be negatively affected by reality. And if you continually make life harder for yourself, it will be obviously quite difficult to excel in life. With this being said, I now want to share the 3 realities of life that John shares in his book, and then go through the 5 most common ways that people make life harder on themselves. So the first reality is that life is difficult. A lot of people seem to assume that life is supposed to be easy. That's not reality though, and life is hard. The second reality is that life is difficult for everyone. No one escapes life's problems, failures, and losses. And finally, the third reality is that life is more difficult for some than others. What it comes down to is the playing field of life is not level, and life's simply not fair. But what it comes down to is unless you're handicapped, or going through some other terrible circumstance, there's likely always room for improvement, and taking action to overcome adversity. Now, with understanding these realities of life, it's clear to understand that life is already difficult enough as it is, so you obviously don't want to make life harder for yourself. With this being said, I now want to break down the 5 most common ways that people make life harder for themselves. The first is that life is more difficult for those who stop learning and growing. Some people assume that they'll grow automatically, and others don't value growth at all. For these people, life is more difficult than it should be. Number 2 is that life is more difficult for those who don't think effectively. Sure, you'll face mistakes and failures, but you must use your mind to learn and move forward. Number 3 is that life is more difficult for those who don't face reality. It's obvious that if you aren't honest with yourself and face reality, you'll never be able to find success because you don't realistically know how to. After that, number 4 is that life is more difficult for those who are slow to make proper adjustments. If you aren't consciously working to make adjustments to get better day by day, the adjustments will take extended periods of time to make or you won't make them at all, leading to no improvement. And finally, number 5 is that life is more difficult for those who don't respond correctly to challenges. If you aren't responding correctly to adversity in a realistic manner, you'll never overcome those challenges. Without understanding the realities of life and staying out of your own way, life can be extremely difficult. If you want to have healthy relationships, a fulfilling life where you continually improve, where you find success on multiple levels, you must be realistic and stay out of your own way. And by being aware of these 3 realities as well as these 5 common ways that people get in their own way, it will improve your life and also assist with making a tremendous impact in this world and crafting a life of significance. I hope this talk makes a positive impact in your life. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening or watching it. Check out other episodes. Leave a review. Follow the podcast on social media at More You Know Pod. And sign up for CrowdQuestion to ask me questions about the episode. Again, thank you for listening as we propel through podcasting with the More You Know.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.